I'm Jared Troll. We got Greg G Pop and Paul, the new guy Francher, coming on with you. Uh, I just brought this to everybody's attention pretty quick. We also have a new guy, P World. His name is Perry. He is going to be our new production guy, producer, uh, IT tech guy because that's what he goes to school for. He is actually going for production management and stuff like that, project management for digital creation in the digital world. I have no clue in how to do that. Neither did Greg and Paul. We started this off as a fun thing just to kind of see where we go. And now that we see that we're actually getting some traction, we're going to take it to a different level. We're going to restructure, rebrand. That's why he's coming in. He's going to rebrand the Vet Talk Shop badge and not make it look so bad and like a child put it together on clip art, because I pretty much did, because that was the free clip art that they gave us. So we went ahead and we're going to rebrand. We're going to restructure our podcast and our YouTube. Paul over here is just joining us for the first podcast. He's been kind of in a loop a little while. Like I said, he has some family issues going on. I didn't disclose that. I don't care. He's back. I love this guy. He come to me. Me and him have talked. He's a good friend. He lives right down the road from me. About 40 minutes, I think. You live close to Edgewood, somewhere around that way. So
Yeah,
he's
right
kind
up
of
there.
yeah, he's kind of in the East Texas DFW area. He's just like right on the outskirts. Greg, he lives in DFW with me. So we're all kind of in the same area. And then we have Perry that's coming from the West Coast. So when he comes in from the West Coast, it's kind of a time difference, and there's some stuff that we've got to work on there. But we will be dropping new videos, a lot of new videos. We're pushing. We're going to try to push at least once a week to drop a video. But I think once we get rolling and we start the research and everything and see how all this is going to actually play out, we will actually go from there and probably drop 3 and 4, because we will all learn editing so we can actually help each other edit the videos. So it's a team effort. We're growing, we're learning. We're going to get a lot more information out to veterans. I'm going to be taking mostly the Vietnam veteran era guys. If y'all have issues, you're more than welcome to talk to me. Greg is taking the reserves and National Guard and the Cold War era guys, because that's what time he served, and he's been in the Guard, he's been in the reserves, and he knows his stuff. So Navy, Air Force, everything but the Marines. Speaking of Marines and crayon sniffers, we have Paul, which is an actual jarhead. He is an OEF veteran. Weren't you in Afghanistan too, right? You were, weren't
No, other than OIF, the only other claim to fame I have is Phantom Fury.
you? Okay. So he's been around for a little while too, and he's been in combat also. He is a combat veteran. Greg is not a combat veteran. He has a lot of deployments with the Guard and everything else. And we talked about that last night in a conference call, and we're going to get the Guard guys out. We were talking about FRGs and where we want to go with that. We will be having a series for the spouses. We're going to get the spouses together. Harry is not married, but he does have a fiance or a girlfriend or a significant other that they will be. I think he's going to try to bring her on as well, but I'm not guaranteed with that because he hasn't said anything about it. But Greg has said his wife would love to come on, and I don't know about Paul's yet. This was kind of a spring on him, but I don't think Ashley would
We'll
have
figure it out.
a problem. We'll figure it out. Yeah, because his wife is awesome, and she's just as big a butthead as he is, if not worse, because she has to deal with him. And my wife is the same way, and so is Greg's, because
Not my wife. My wife is just the sweetest woman on earth.
Okay,
I
know your wife. I know your wife, and I'm over here so I can say what I want to say, and I'll get you in trouble, not me. But no, his wife is great. All the wives we have been very supportive. They're all rocks, and we want to bring them on to help other spouses with, maybe living with somebody with PTSD, depression, survivor benefits, spousal benefits, ID cards, deers, anything that they need support with, the wives will be there. It's going to be like a remote FRG slash family group. That's what we're going to push for. We're going to try to make this a family friendly, loving, fun group. We're going to try to make each other better. We're going to push each other and bring productivity up. Greg, you got anything?
No, I'll fill out those forms this week and get them, get my part filled out.
There's only one part that y'all got to fill out. I filled everything else out. Don't worry about the forms. I'm talking about just like for the families and all that content.
For the future, I know we're talking about the wives. For those of us that live here local, like you, me, and Paul, down the road, I think it'd be good if we did something live somewhere. Even if we just got some GoPros and went somewhere and talked to people.
I'm working on that right now.
Okay.
I'm looking at a camera right now, and that's why I bought the laptop instead of the desktop.
Yeah.
So I went with the laptop so we can go. I have a portable soundboard. My mic's portable. I've got the bag ready to go. All I've got to do is when, where, and who is coming. So we just need to know what time, what place, what uniform, and what gear we need, and we will Charlie Mike from there.
Okay. I think I still have a contact at my old unit with the FRG person because she's kind of a permanent fixture there. So down the road, we might start, as I start working that guard reserve side of the house, make contact with some of them. Because I think some of them have some input on how they could make things better, and if they can't do it through their channels, then maybe we create a channel. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, and that's good though, because me having the VFW and the support that I've had, even with the CVMA and the CVMA, they're set up where they're really family oriented. They bring the spouses and the kids in. And even though it is a motorcycle group, it's not actually a motorcycle club. It's an association of riders. They are a 501c. We do help veterans and their families. So it's a family-oriented club, and we enjoy that. We get together with the families and the kids and bring everybody together, and maybe talking to some of them wives might actually be helpful to structure some stuff. I know my sergeant at arms in the CVMA, his wife and him, I think, have a 501c of their own, or they help with one or run one or something. It's really cool. So, there's your youngest. And she's so cute. But yeah, we do all that, and then we'll go ahead and go from there and try to pick up a kind of a FRG type family homie for the wives, and if they need questions asked, well, ask them to us. That's what we're here for, is to answer questions, guys.
Well, it's I won't say necessarily more, but it's as important for veterans to get their spouses involved in what they have going on as far as their VA stuff and all that, because let's just be honest, we don't take care of ourselves most.
Oh, you're absolutely right. My wife, like I said, was not right.
Our wives tell us when we're sick and what we feel like eating that day. So,
right.
But also they need to know, because down the road, I'm 9 years older than my wife, so chances are I'm going to be, and she's going to have to take care of me or something. And so she needs to know how to work in the VA and get around their systems and how to communicate with military retirement office when the time comes to, make sure my retirement checks come on time, because I can't count that high. And all of that kind of stuff, so there's so many aspects we can get involved in. And I think we're going in a direction more of what I think it should be. There's a lot of organizations out there, we want to help, but they're so involved in, the politics of it and the advertisement of it. And,
they're more worried about the money side than they are the actual helping veterans side, the financial side of it. And I actually looked at another group, another podcast that's grown tremendously. I'm not going to put the name out there because it is a veteran podcast. It's their thing. They do great work. But I looked at their business model, and when I started looking at their business model, I was like, wow, that's the direction we were going to go. So we kind of had to shift gears a little bit because it was the way we were going, but it's not the way I wanted we wanted the group to go as a whole.
Yeah.
We want to be out there to help, but we also want to be out there to have fun and laugh and joke and, veterans be veterans.
Yeah.
You having a bad day with depression. Hey, man, bring one of us up. Hey, bro, you got an ear for a little bit? Sure. What you got?
Absolutely.
That's what we're here for, is to help you guys, because we have our days too. There's days that I can't get out of bed. I don't want to get out of bed. There's days that I go out 100 miles an hour, just get everything done, have a great day, and then the next day I'm just, or the next day I might be good for a couple days, and then I fall off a cliff, and again you get depression, or you're angry, or just having a bad day, or just something flips in you. You're around people and there's a lot of noise in the background and you don't know what's going on. You're sitting in the middle of a room, stuff like that triggers me pretty bad because I can't see what's going on behind me. And I'm not a big fan of people being behind me ever. And so my wife knows that and knows what triggers me. So she knows how to get me out of the situation. So wives and all these guys that are around you all the time don't have to be your wife. Be your husband if you're a female, and be your partner. It could be I'm just gonna say your spouse, significant other, because there's a lot of uh, politically correct terms that I'm gonna use that we can use for this, because we are reaching the veteran community, which is a little different now than it was, in 2003 when growing up. Don't ask, don't tell. So everything's a little different now, and we are going to push to modernize our podcast to all veterans, not just reservists, not just active duty, not guys that just been deployed, all military members that have ever served. Because, Greg, didn't you say your mom served 14 years and does not have a DD 214 past her basic MIT?
She served 14 years with the Navy Reserve. Went everywhere they asked her to go, did everything they asked her to do, and ended up getting out because she had a health issue and couldn't control her weight. And because she didn't do 180 consecutive days ever on active duty for them on orders, she doesn't get a 214. She's not entitled to veterans benefits, other than the state of Texas, I think, gave her a VA home loan.
So, yeah, so you see that there's veterans out there that actually need to be addressed. I mean, 180 days consecutive active duty, I got that. But if you're out there and you're 14 years in, you didn't get to retire because you had a medical issue, come down, or whatever the case may be. And then you turn around, you've got all this going on, and next thing you know is bam. I don't have a DD 214 and I'm out of the Navy, but nobody's there to help me.
Yeah.
But you put me out without the resources because I didn't do 180 days consecutive. No telling, I probably got 6 years of actual deployment, but not consecutive. Since you're not 180 days, 6 months consecutive, you don't get benefit. Right. Now, no, because you drill 2 weeks at a time. So after so many years, I think they should give you, some kind of benefit. If you're 10 years into the reserve and you've done your drill, you're there every weekend, you're there 2 weeks a year. After 6 years, you should get your DD 14. Hey, you're honorably discharged. This is how many active days you did compared to your inactive. So, hey, you went 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, and then here's your drills on a DD 14 for reserves.
Guard and reserve, it's 5 for 1. If you have 5 good years as a reserve or a guard, that's 1 year equivalent of active duty.
Okay. Well, she had 14 years, so that's only like not even 3 years.
Yeah.
But how many times was she activated during those 3 years?
I don't know how many times she went and did different sets of orders for them. I mean, even in the time I was in, I went to Guam for 30 something days twice. went to Spain for 30 days.
Right.
And I was there in my Navy Reserve unit for 10 years. And I worked for them more than I worked for my civilian job, even if it was just going to Grand Prairie and doing what they needed me to do.
Mm-hmm. And you didn't get a DD-214 because it was not 180 days consecutive.
Nope.
Yeah.
All I got was an honorable discharge certificate.
Yeah. I got one of those somewhere. I don't even have it hung up. I just don't care. I have a DD-214. I know what I did. I'm happy. Leave me alone. I got my benefits. Now it's time for me to relax and help others. Guys, there's a lot of things that y'all don't know that has actually went into this podcast. That's actually went into this group. And the reason we started this group, and I'll put that out there on a video on my own in my content when I'm ready, because I'm not ready to talk about that yet because it's too early, and I just don't feel like it's a good time for the podcast to go down that way and me go down a rabbit hole and not want to do anything anymore for a while. So I've got too much on my plate to be talking about that kind of stuff, but we will be getting there soon. Paul, I know you've had a lot of anxiety, you've had a lot of depression and PTSD issues and nightmares and sleepless nights, and man, we talk about a lot of stuff and stuff that me and you both have been through, and what's kind of going on in the world and in the world of veterans. But I just think that coming from an aspect of you being infantry and a Marine, that you would have more on ground knowledge and baseline knowledge of actually what happens to the code. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, I'm saying, like mental, what they need help with, how they need help, what we can do to help, and the standards and the content that we are going to make and put out for the veteran.
My big deal, I've learned. I try to avoid situations. That's where I avoid large crowds, loud noises unless I'm the one making them. Stuff like that. It's keep it simple.
I kind of think we're all in that same boat as veterans. We all go to the back of the room. We sit with our back to the walls. We watch the doors. We watch the windows. We watch anything that goes by. Anytime there's movement, we catches our eye. We look over there to watch what's going on. And your brain is processing at a speed of 10 times what a normal human being's brain is, because you're trying to, as a veteran, you're trying to interpret and watch for threats and things that's out of the ordinary and stuff like that. Stuff that we've been trained to do and programmed to do. Literally, we have been programmed. Basic training, AIT, the training we go through, they're like, oh man, this stuff ain't never gonna work. I've seen it. I've seen people have cat tourniquets in their hand when they pass away because they're trying to save their lives. I've seen, stuff like that. We don't want to see that stuff anymore though. But we've seen stuff like that. So the training that that the military doctrine induces actually works during a time of panic.
See, we didn't have AIT. We had SOI. But
it's the same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
Your job training.
And they teach you everything, but they don't teach you how to turn off the switch.
Right. And there's no military doctrine out there that, as far as I know, that teaches you how to turn it off until you already are out there and you get back. They try to teach you to turn it off. And I think that's already too late, because you already are programmed. And when you get back, you're in that mode. You don't want to hear that kind of stuff.
Let's say you're a computer programmer and you just programmed a video game. You programmed something for PS5.
Right.
Okay. It's awesome graphics. Now, they're going to try to introduce some new code into it to make it play Super Mario 3. It's not going to work.
No. And I
Two
agree.
totally different things.
I 100% agree with that. When you start trying to fix a problem, they're basically reacting to a problem that needs to be activated in the front. So instead of prepping beforehand for this issue that they know that the soldiers are going to come back with PTSD, they know they're going to come back with depression and combat stress, they should have a plan in place
Now,
beforehand instead of retaliating with the training afterwards. Because when you get home from I
pardon
don't know,
me for
I
a
got home
moment.
from Iraq and we had those briefings, I sat through them things and I didn't care to listen to all that. I spent a year away from my family. I was ready to be home with my family. They want you to go through all this reintegration training before you leave and go home on leave with your family. But if you do that, most of these soldiers are not listening. Most of these guys are not taking this. All they want to do is just go home and spend some time with their family. They've been gone a year. They get 4-day pass, and then you got to do a month of freaking processing in because you're back from combat. You're going through stupid briefings all day, 8 hours a day. You don't want to do that. You got reverse SRP and all that in the Army. I don't know how it is in the Marine. That's what we call it, the Soldiers Readiness Program, where we go through and we say, "Hey, yes, we were exposed to this,
Same shit.
exposed to that." We didn't know what all we were exposed to back then. But did you do this? Did you do that? Yes, we did this. We did that. Do you have any issues? And just a base medical. Hey, are you healthy back? Are you gonna and financially, do you have a place to stay? Da 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 da. And back then they didn't do that in Vietnam and all that, which is a shame that it taken this long for the Army to realize that the doctrine that they are doing is more of a reactive situation to what they've done for years and shoot, decades. And they're just now finding, I don't know if a lot of people watch Peaky Blinders and a lot of those other combat movies where these guys have been in combat, and then all of a sudden, they wake up in night terrors and they're having night sweats. And one of them was drinking until so to the point of excess, he was going crazy. And we've all seen that in our lives. We've got guys that have either taken their lives or they've they got drinking, or they've been into drugs, or they got addiction problems, and everybody's seen it. And I know with a lot of the Vietnam vets, even some of the Iraqi vets, and a lot of the Cold War era vets, they have a lot of alcohol issues coming back. I mean, hell, I had a lot of alcohol issues coming back. I was drinking a lot when I came back. And I was it's a self-medication. It is. It's a self-medication. You want to forget about things that you've done and seen, and I mean, I was going through a half gallon a bottle of Jack in a night, and then turn around the next day and I'm drinking 330 packs and soju and a fifth of Jim, and I'm still standing there talking to you. So my liver is pretty well pickled, and it slapped me in the face for a couple of days after that. But I understand, what they went through, what the mentality is, the mindset when you come back, and everything has changed. So everybody goes through the experience, but it's the same.
My wife and I were talking about that the other day, and for non-military folks, I said, the equivalent what society needs to look at is look at how they come down on athletes, right? These kids that are phenomenal athletes from birth, right? They're trained their whole life. Be aggressive, be hard hitting, go get it, go do it. And then all of a sudden, one of them, he's drunk and driving 800 miles an hour in his car and shooting out the windows. And they're like, well, what's wrong with him? He must be crazy. And it's like, you trained him to be this aggressive his whole freaking life, and now you just want him to turn it off.
Yeah. There's no deprocessing of it. So when you go to turn it off, it's just not there. There's no depressing. I appreciate you joining, Banhammer. We got a guy, if you go to the chat, Greg, on the right side of the screen that I showed you, we actually have somebody talking to us. So he come over the other day, and I had to try to walk him through the streaming program because this stuff is, there's a lot of different programs and social media that we use now and stuff like that. But no, as far as deprogramming, the military does not deprogram. it's like these canines. No, you are more than welcome, man. We love interactive viewers, man. We appreciate it, Ben Hammer. But as far as the deprogramming, they do not really don't deprogram soldiers, veterans. When they come back, it's just, hey, we got to train to get ready to go again. And the problem with that is oh, Greg timed out. I think his internet.
Well,
Messed up.
No,
Greg
I'm
timed
here. I'm here.
There he is.
Oh,
My camera turned off for some reason.
oh, okay.
I don't know
You're
why.
all right. But
Anyway,
you know, they don't redeprogram you coming out, and there's not really a training thing to deprogram you. And I don't understand why, because you know they say all these things are great. These what are they? The briefing things you go through. You know, don't beat your wife, don't beat your dog. Everything's changed. You know, she was messing with Jody while you were gone. Whatever it is, I don't care. But
Yeah.
it's just to the point when the soldier gets back, it's more of a reactive thing than a program thing. You know how to when you get back, things are going to change. How to go ahead and bring it down, and so that's kind of where they're at. I think they need to integrate something before guys get back, not just an SRP, but an actual game plan for the soldiers, the Marines, the Navy, just anybody that's coming back, reserves, active. Hey guys, you know things are going to change. You need to spend like another 2 weeks in Kuwait and deprogram.
Yeah.
And
Well,
once you deprogram, like actually deprogram these guys, have the briefings there, have stuff there for these guys to bring them down and lower their threshold and let them understand that they're going back into a civilian society and not to a combat zone, and where they don't have to be aware, where they know that they're going home with their families and everything's going to be okay, and you know you don't have to watch much and stuff like that, but they don't do that.
well, that's what I was saying the other night when my audio was cutting out. As you know, you go back in history and you look at how things were done, and America as a country has never done it that way. But if you go all the way back to biblical times, you know, the men were required to go off to a different place for 10 days after they had been at a war, and they stayed together as a group, and they talked, and they sat in the sauna, and they drank wine and ate food and prayed to whatever God they prayed to, and talked to each other before they ever went back to their homeland to go home to their family. Because, you know, yeah, once you get somebody inside the United States, I mean, we're Americans. We're not used to being held in one spot when we're at home. And we're going to be not interested, you know. We're just not programmed that way. You know, like if you're from Texas and they bring you home to Fort Hood and say you got to stay here for a month, you're like, man, that's fucking stupid. I'm 3 hours from home. You know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, you got my train of thought going, but no, I agree. There should be some kind of doctrine that's set in place to uh de-elevate, you know,
Yeah.
and or decelerate the mind to let it slow down and process everything that you just went through and what you're going to go through, and to understand why you're going through that. Ben Hammer said, "Oh, I'll post it. I think I can post most of these. Yeah, I can show these." So, man, some of my buddies who did Desert Steel can't sleep unless they hear gunshots and bombs. Yeah, a lot of noise. I mean, most of them are so used to uh, if they're like on OPs or something, and they've been around a lot of mortars or gunshots or IEDs or you know, Desert Steel was a little Shield was a little different than us, even though it was a desert terrain. It's a different type of warfare. Um, they were more actually fighting heads up. We did more of a guerrilla style. We didn't know who the hell it was, more like Vietnam. They all wore Durkas or the man Muslim robes, and then the
The bibs.
women wear the hijabs, but they call it something similar for the men. And each one, the red, the black, the white, it all different religion steps in their religion and mean different things for them. So I think the sheiks like had a black with white or something, but they were like the high up guys and uh promoter. Hey, nice power plug. I need one of those. But um yeah, so learning all that kind of stuff, and then when you come over here and you're seeing it, like I know Dallas has a huge Arab population coming in. We have a lot of Pakistani, Indian, just all over the world. We're Dallas is becoming a cultural nest, and which is awesome. Because I'm learning new foods, I'm learning new all kinds of stuff, and I love that because I like to eat. I'm a big boy, but
Me too.
it's also, when you see stuff like that, you see them wearing their garb out. You look and you're like, whoa, and you're like, you're looking for weapons, you're looking for any kind of threat, you're looking for any kind of thing that's going to be there. And then they're like, why are you looking at me? And it's not really that you're looking at them like that. You're on guard. You're watching anything that's out of the ordinary. You haven't seen one of them guys in 15 years, 20 years maybe. But
And
all
it
of a
all
sudden,
goes back to
and,
what we're trained to do, and
and
then
floods and memories and
can't flip
everything.
that switch.
And so, you just there's no separation there, none at all. So when it comes to uh like the doctrine of, hey, return fire, everybody knows the first thing you do to react to fire is get down, find cover, and return fire. You want to get
Yeah.
fire superiority in every infantry engagement that you ever do. The more firepower, the more you win. And that's why we have cruiser weapons, why we have saws, U40s, and all this other neat high power stuff that they're actually coming out with. That new SIG rifle they're coming out with the 6.8 SBC
Oh,
is
it's
a
badass.
yeah, that's it.
Oh my God.
So bad, they're so pretty. But so you got a bunch of gun guys here that are like, man, the stuff they're coming out with now. And me being a medic, I'm sitting here thinking, I was like, that's going to be hard on wound cavities and channels and stuff like that. There's not going to be
Not gonna be a lot left to work with.
mobility rate is going to go down in combat. So that on the other
I'm going to
hand,
add a little bit to this, just to ask if you've seen it. They have a full auto Lapua.
Mhm.
Jesus Christ.
yes.
Oh
Yes,
my God.
Well, that's in case what
a herd of
who was it?
elephants run at you.
Yeah. I was trying to think of the historic leader that marched the elephants over the Alps.
Do you have one of your
There we
rounds?
go.
Do you have a 338 Lapua round handy? Show them how big
I can have one in about 3 seconds.
it
Give me a
is.
second.
You're fine. I don't have anything accessible right now. I've got a couple 223s and 762s, but the 223 and the AR platform is a good round. It bounces around inside the cavity as medics learn. And we got to look for bullet channels and bullet wounds. But the 6.8 coming out now is a bigger round. It's heavier. It's closer to a 30 cal. It's almost the same kind of wound cavity. And so we're looking more like the AK style wound with the AR platform. The MP5, man, bro, they had MP5s. The Mongols had MP5s in Iwania when I was down there, and those things were cool. And they were not scared to load them on anybody. They were crazy. Yeah. But anyways, the new stuff that they're coming out with, we got a little bit off task. The doctrine that they're coming out with, which is heavy weapons and stuff like that, and everything, that it needs to be reversed. It needs to be embedded into something that is going to be able to turn people's emotions and sensory or off and stuff like that. Because one of the most uh, biggest triggers for veterans and not even just veterans, for anybody that has any kind of PTSD or any kind of bad memories or something like that. Everybody says, I walk in the kitchen during Christmas and I smell mom's or grandma making cookies. That reminds me of this. So when you walk into somewhere and you smell flesh or you smell something that's similar to what you smelled over there, it's going to put you right back. And they need to bring in some kind of doctrine that doesn't do that to veterans. Uh, these guys are great at what they do for combat, but it's the reverse engineering of that needs to go into effect when we get home. And there's not a lot of that that's happening. So, what you got, Paul? Let me see one.
All right. For just a size comparison, this is a 50. This is a 338 Lapua.
Yeah, they're actually making the 338 in a squad automatic weapon similar to, I think it's supposed to replace the 240 Bravo.
Yeah.
Which is the old M60 for you Vietnam guys and Cold War guys and stuff like that. Y'all were, depends on what part from 80 to 90s y'all were in. It breaks. They started bringing in the 240s probably around late 90s, probably mid to late 90s, early 2000s. I know when I got to my unit at the mechanized infantry, we had the 240s. We did not have M60s, but I did see a unit that a guy had an M60 that we were on patrol with, and he was carrying it, and I felt really bad for that guy because we were out on a meet and greet with our platoon or our company captain, company whatever he was, the CO. And he was out there doing meet and greet, and he was carrying that guy was carrying an M60 on his PSD team, and I felt bad for him. So I don't know the weight difference and everything yet, but put that away. My wife is looking. Yeah, she's gonna be like, no, no more gun for you. No, I've even told my wife I'm not gonna buy any for a while. I think that's
Come over. I got what you want. I got what you need.
Oh man, I got plenty for a while. It's just I just haven't had the need or really found anything that really grabs my attention except one gun that I've been looking for. I'm looking for a pistol. It was a 357 Steyr. The Steyr 357. It's called an M357A1. It's got the trapezoid sight. It's got like a 5.25-inch barrel or something like that. It is absolutely gorgeous, and I want it in the 356. They make it in the 9 and the 40. They don't make it in the SIG, and I want it in the 357. I've shot one in the SIG. I absolutely love that one. It was beautiful. But no, I think that's the only thing if I ever find I would buy it. Probably pay a penny for it. But I mean, right now I looked at a couple carry weapons and stuff like that. But off of the
The only 357s I have are the Smith Airweight and the Smith Highway Patrol.
Yeah,
Old school.
Yeah, the revolvers. Yeah, Greg actually has a revolver and 38. No, you shoot 38.
I've got the Taurus 627.
Yeah,
medium frame 7-shot 357.
It's kind of like what is it? The 686 Smith that they had, or 676, whatever.
It's the gun that my wife likes to get a hold of and rip through a box of ammo in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think she understands that 357 mag is not cheap. It's not cheap. And to reload it, I mean, I need dies, so and it's just so hard because I mean, COVID messed up so much for the firearm community, for the veteran community, everything. And speaking of which, we were talking about transitioning from the veteran community. And these guys that transitioned, I know, Greg, you talked about uh, your transition program during COVID when you retired,
Yeah.
and we talked. A lot of us talked about our transitioning problems and stuff like that. We had getting out of the military uh, to go forward, and since we don't, I'm sorry, baby. I know you don't know what I'm talking about, but it's okay. But to go forward in life and how that's going to be adjusted, and there's so many programs out there for military, but until you start going to these briefings and stuff like that, they got for you, the workshops for the resumes and all this stuff. Now you have to do all that online. It's not as convenient and it's not as helpful as actually having somebody there talking to you, walking you through it, and helping you do it. And do it on a computer, and they're sitting behind you. Say, "Hey, I would change these target words. I would change this. I would help you with this." And then you have your interview online now, and everything's going so digital. It's just one of those things. I don't think that they're going to have an issue going forward if they continue doing what they've done in the past with the live people. So
Yeah, during COVID, my retirement process was like a 30-minute video and sign here.
yeah. See, so that's that's not no out process.
No.
But
And
anyways, I was just going to holler at everybody about the transition that we are going to be making and the rebranding of the page and the site and all of our social media. We will be dropping a lot more content. A lot of it will be more informational, but not only that, we will have our Monday podcast just to hang out, talk. If you guys got questions, if you look at our comment and you need us to maybe go in depth on something, reach out to us, guys. I've got my email in our page. If you don't have my page, on my email, when you see us on next Monday, I'll drop all that in there. Like I said, we're rebranding, so it might be restructuring, we're redoing everything, we're rephasing to bring a new face to this, because we are going to bring a new side of it eventually with the live, and we will be bringing a lot of other stuff into the picture for everyone. Um, we want every veteran that we can get, so we can support them guys. Look, every one of you, I support every veteran out there. My dad was a veteran. My grandfather was a World War II veteran. My dad's Vietnam. I was Iraq. Uh, I've got a legacy to uphold, and one thing my dad before he passed away, he loved helping veterans, and I will continue to do that in his legacy. But I'm pretty much done. Greg, do you have anything to add, brother?
not right now. I got to get off of here and make a phone call. So
Yeah, is that for that one person that we were talking to
Yes, sir.
earlier? Yes, thank you. Paul, do you have anything for us, brother?
Not really, man.
All right, guys. Well, we're done for the night. I appreciate everybody. Y'all have a great week. We will see y'all next Monday, and y'all have a good night. If you have any questions, email us. We're out.